coalition of civil society organizations under the umbrella of Coalition for Civil Rights Activists has showered unreserved praise on President Bola Tinubu for approving a 15% import duty on refined petroleum products, describing the policy as a watershed decision in the annals of Nigeria's history that will finally put an end to the dumping of sub-Saharan fuels and the perennial scarcity that has plagued the nations for decades. Speaking at a press conference, convener Mr. Gabi Emmanuel told journalists that the tariff is not a revenue grab but a strategic leveler to shield Nigeria's bugging domestic refineries from predatory underpricing by foreign importers.
The coalition of civil rights activists emphatically reject simplistic narratives that reduce this policy to favoritism for particular private interests. It is undeniable that the overarching objective is structural transformation to create a balanced market in which both independent marketers and national refineries can compete fairly with regulatory safeguards and preventing monopolistic accumulation. Perhaps most poignantly, we should remind ourselves that the removal of regressive subsidies and the protection of domestic product capacity are pillars of dignity for our citizens. Dignity in consumption, dignity in work, dignity in national autonomy. These pillars are worth short-term sacrifices for the sake of long-term flourishing. Moreover, the coalition of civil rights activists call on all political actors across the spectrum. We urge them to act statesmanlike, join hands with Mr. President, and to put a final end to the subsidy regime of the past.
Emmanuel dismissed critics who labeled the policy pro-monopoly, stressing that regulatory safeguards already exist to prevent any single players from dominating the market. The coalition urged the National Assembly to fast-track social compensation packages, including targeted tax reliefs for cash transfers to cushion vulnerable households. It also called on the presidency to publish a transparent implementation timetable and revenue allocation framework within 14 days. The group invited the World Bank, the African Development Bank, technical agencies to provide concessional loans and training to maximize the policy's upsides.
Nevertheless, we are conscious of the need for due process. We therefore call on the presidency and relevant ministries to ensure that the implementation timetable, the revenue allocation framework, and the oversight mechanisms are published transparently, subjected to public scrutiny. Transparency will build trust, and trust will stabilize the transition. Perhaps, understandably, there will be headlines that fixate on pump price increases. To that, we say, let us not mistake the price of an essential transition to the cost of indecision. The latter has for decades exacted an invisible toll via wasted resources, stunted industrial growth, and recurrent fuel shortages. The president's policy instead offers a credible exit from that ruinous loop. Evidently, the distributive implications must be addressed. We therefore call upon the National Assembly to work expeditiously in partnership with the executive to legislate safeguards in terms of social compensation, package, tax relief where appropriate, and monitoring of price transmission to prevent profiteering.